I've been putting bad guys away for 44 years. I've been part of investigating over 1,000 deaths. I've been a part of putting more than 400 murders in prison, and I'm still at it. I'm Tim Corbett. These are my cases. This isn't your typical criminal profile podcast. This is Killer Catchers. Good evening. My name's Tim Corbett. I'm owner of Corbett Investigative Service and KillerCatchers.com. Tonight we're going to be talking about an incident that happened on August 27, 2016 at the corner of Diamond and Vassar. A person was killed out there by the name of Chaundra Johnson. Our suspect, his name, and he was arrested. He goes by Lorenzo Pfeiffer. His nickname is Black. So when you hear us refer to Black, that's not an ethnicity, that's his nickname. Tonight I have with me Kyle Slater. Kyle, when I was commander, he's still at homicide. He is an evidence technician. Next to him is Brian Cook. Cookie and I ran partners for a while. He worked with me for, I think, 10 or 11 years. Just recently went back into patrol. You can see he looks a little bit less stressed if you've seen him in some of the other ones, but, a lot of pressure on. Tonight you're going to hear a lot about ShotSpotter. If you don't know what that is, Kyle will explain it to you. You're going to hear a lot about informants and how helpful they are to cases. You're going to hear about a list called a rat list that was put out and turned over to us by people that were friends of mine, informants within the county jail. Make no mistake about it, I made a living, still do, off of informants, people that want to help. Also, don't make the mistake of thinking that they don't want a little love. Yes, they do. Information that they give, we have to ferret out. We have to verify it. We don't take it just at face value. They are very, very helpful. In fact, when I retired, I took a bag, big trash bag about like that with probably 300 or 400 letters in it from prisons all over the country, every facility in Indiana, county jail. People that wanted to cooperate, that trusted us, trusted me, that came forward, they are invaluable. So what I want to do, I want to go back to August 27, 2016 at about 10:30 p.m., Diamond and Vassar, like I said earlier. And Kyle, I'm going to kind of open it up to you because you were the evidence tech on some of this, but there were also other evidence techs. Ken Cornelis, Mike Norby, and who else?
Jim Andrews.
Jim Andrews has since retired. I guess he's driving truck now. I rode in a squad car with him. If you ever see him on the road, pull over, because I don't know if he drives or aims, but he's out driving a truck. So go ahead.
So to put the scene into perspective, South Bend police were called out to the area on a ShotSpotter notification at 10:32 in the evening on the 27th there. And it was, ShotSpotter was indicating 6 rounds. Approximately 2 minutes later, and that was on Lawndale, which is about 2 blocks away from Diamond and Vassar. Then about 2 minutes later, ShotSpotter indicated another round on Diamond and Vassar in that area. Just to explain what ShotSpotter is, ShotSpotter is a system in the city of South Bend that records and it uses acoustic sensors to record obnoxious sounds, gunshots in particular. A computer will read its decibels and it will send the information to an analyst, and that analyst will look at it and say, yes, this is gunshots, or no, it's not. And then within a minute or two, they will send that information directly to the police officers. So, and what it does is those acoustic sensors will triangulate and it will pinpoint right where that is. And it's pretty accurate. It's very accurate, especially if it gets at least 3 sensors that hits it. And it just gives the officers a little more leeway on exactly where those shots were fired. And it gets them going to the area a lot quicker than waiting for somebody to hear them and then call 911 and go to the next person, they say, oh, there's shots fired here, but I don't know exactly where they're at. So it's a good system.
Or not call at all, because they're so used to hearing gunfire.
Yeah, so it's definitely, and it helps us in a sense too. You know, we know how many shots are fired, and you can't take everything exactly how it is, because there are certain circumstances where you have to read the evidence and not just base it off of what ShotSpotter is. But with that being said, the Lawndale shots, and then South Bend police responded. They ended up going to Lawndale and finding evidence at the actual scene there, but nothing at Diamond and Vassar. A short time after that, a vehicle, a black Pontiac, drove to Memorial Hospital and with a gunshot victim in the front passenger seat. That person ultimately died, and that was Chaundra Johnson. Me and Jim Andrews were the original crime scene techs on the scene. We processed 2 scenes there, the one at Diamond and Vassar, and then also the one on Lawndale. And we were able to collect lots of evidence, some ballistic evidence, stuff like that.
Okay, yeah. Obviously, there's a lot of photos being taken. You did video?
Yes.
Okay. Then about that time, Cookie, you got there about that time when they were out working on the scene?
Yeah, I originally went to the Lawndale, like he said, was approximately a block and a half. If you cut through the yards, it's literally a minute walk, 30-second run. The first scene was Lawndale. We had the front of the house appeared to have been riddled with bullets, shell casings, and the second scene began after Chaundra arrived at the hospital. His passenger had said where this occurred at, and that's what took us around the corner. So,
who was your partner?
I was with Chris Kronwater, I believe.
Okay.
No, I was with Tony Bontrager.
Okay.
No? Who was I with? I've had a few.
That was in 2016. You were with nobody. You were with Tim Corbett. You and Tim Corbett.
So you didn't really have anybody with you?
Well, I'd like to elaborate on that for a minute. We were spread very thin, and in the summertime like that, we go 19 different directions. You were probably on another call. We probably met up later together. But if Kyle says you were my partner at the time, you were my partner at the time.
I remember we kind of split up because I was still commander, ran partners with you for 2.5 years because a certain department wouldn't send somebody over to us.
Yes.
So I had to not only do that, work with these guys at the scene to see what we have, and then get hooked up with you.
In the middle of delivering our own subpoenas and driving to different states and bringing people back for court and things of that nature.
Do more with less.
Yes. So anyway, we learned of Chaundra Johnson and where he was ultimately shot at, and at that time it was one big crime scene, literally a whole 2-block radius. We started canvassing neighborhoods, looking for surveillance, trying to talk to people. The suspect, Black, Lorenzo Pfeiffer, and the victim, CJ, as they call them, Chaundra Johnson, we found out they were somehow shirt tail related. Some kind of cousin from a married side, and that the area of where this happened, they both had an aunt. That turned out, I don't know, that lived in that area. And there were several people in that area that we talked to and interviewed that kind of led us on the right path of Lorenzo Pfeiffer. There were also other people that were persons of interest. The scope took us to Michigan. It took us, I believe we were down in Indianapolis. We were in Detroit at one point. We talked to numerous people, and everything kept coming back to Lorenzo Pfeiffer. I I believe that happened in August of 16, and I think we convicted him in December of 19.
Okay, so this wasn't like a quick flip where, we have it on video. 9 people came in, pointed fingers. The guy came in and confessed. This was a long, protracted bunch of police work.
Yes. Yes. It was.
Now, Kyle, going back, we're kind of setting up where we're at. Going back to your scene, how long did it take you guys just basically to process those 2 scenes?
It was probably throughout the night. I remember getting the call shortly thereafter it happened, 10:34, and working till 6, 7 in the morning on it. And then it continues after that. I mean, and that's what this was a group effort. I commend the guys because we had help from our other techs and Mike Norby and Ken Cornelis who helped us process a couple vehicles that were involved in this. Because through our investigation, we learned from witnesses that the 6 shots after they occurred, there was an SUV that was fleeing that area where those shots were seen. And those were actually seen by the people, the witness that was also in the car with Chaundra Johnson. And shortly after that is when this happened. We were able to later locate that vehicle and process it and get ballistic evidence out of that vehicle. And then also with CJ showing up at the hospital and the passenger seat, there's obviously a driver in there. That driver was interviewed and a couple times, and he was able to give us some very important information in this case as well. We are also able to determine kind of how this shot happened with that witness and then the evidence inside that car. What we had is the car pulling, one car pulled up where CJ was in. He was in the passenger seat, and then he had the witness in the driver's seat. They were sitting at the intersection in the car when the other car pulled up parallel with them right next to them, where in the suspect car, the front passenger actually leaned back and then the driver pulls out a firearm, where the witness in our victim's car leaned back like so, yelled gun, and then the guy shot, and he shot through an open window, which went through Chaundra Johnson, hit him in his left chest. Ultimately, through the autopsy, learning that it had actually perforated his left lung and his spine, and then exiting out of his back. That bullet continued into the B pillar on the passenger side of the car. We were able to recover that bullet. So,
okay. And did you attend the autopsy?
No, Jim Andrews did.
Jim Andrews did. Yeah, just so everybody knows, and we've talked about this before, the purpose of an autopsy is to establish death. Obviously, we've had cases in the past where a traumatic head wound, that bullet that somebody fired is what caused the death. But if we don't eliminate all other causes of death, cancer, heart attack, stroke, anything that a defense attorney can say, how do you know that they didn't die of this previous to that traumatic head wound or that chest shot or whatever it is? We have to have a forensic pathologist do the autopsy. It's attended by our techs. Copious numbers of photographs are taken. Evidence is documented. Reports are written. Obviously, the doctor writes a report, and we can use that as our basis for charging that this wasn't a cardiac event. This wasn't a stroke or anything like this. This death was caused by those stab wounds, those gunshot wounds, that traumatic beating, any of those kinds of things. So that's why we have to do it. It is not a pleasant thing to see. It is not something that you forget quickly, especially when, and we'll tell some stories later on, cases about babies. It's bad enough you have to see an adult human, but when you see a baby about that big going through an autopsy and the things that body has to go through, this is a tough job, and you got to be tough to do it. If you're not, that stuff will eat you up. So when we tell these things, when I speak about this, I want people to know it's just not a commercial and we're out of here and everybody goes and eats a pizza and drinks beer and has a great time. these, there's ghosts. There's ghosts in the back of your head, but you have to be able to put it behind that shade and pull it down and go on with life. If you don't, then these people that do these events, that kill people, they get to live rent-free in your head, and you're not a good husband or parent or grandpa or whatever to your family. You can't let that happen. So that autopsy, it came back that it was a homicide. And then from there, Cookie, what were to pick up?
Lorenzo Pfeiffer was very popular on the streets of South Bend. A lot of people feared him. It was very hard to get the truth out of a lot of people because they just feared him. He was a nasty individual. We had a lot of people come forward eventually. Like I said, our travels took us all over the place, interviewing different people, talking to different people.
I think you did 30 to 40 interviews in this case, so
it was
if not more.
Every bit of.
Yeah.
And it came to our attention that he being black, Lorenzo Pfeiffer had a rat list on the wall in his jail cell at the St. Joe County Jail, and that it contained names of people that were thought to have told in some kind of a case. And in this case, several of my witnesses were on this list. Action was taken, and that list was confiscated. And in fact, that list did contain several of the witnesses on this case. That list was ultimately fingerprinted. Lorenzo Pfeiffer's fingerprints were on it. It was found in his cell. And I think that had a lot to do with getting our conviction on him.
Well, how did he get all those names? Was it through motion for discovery, or was it just word of mouth, or he had a premonition and he thought,
Well, I think this
happens?
is something black Lorenzo Pfeiffer had been in and out of the system several times. And in the system, these clicks, he just gathered information from the people that they believe to have. Some guys do tell what their discovery is, things of that nature, but a lot of it is just made up things that they assume somebody would have told. But this one happened to be fairly accurate. So that was a big stepping stone for us.
Now, those people on that list, did a lot of those people testify?
They did.
How long of a trial was that?
I think we went 4 days. I think we was to the jury on the fourth day, and I believe it was late that evening that we got the conviction.
About how long were they out?
They were about 2 or 3 hours.
It wasn't very long, really. No, it was a couple hours. Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
3.
I think it was a couple hours. The jury.
So obviously they were pretty convinced.
Yeah,
Not pretty convinced. They were convinced.
they were very convinced
because they all.
correct.
Yep.
That is correct.
When that list was out, was put out, we also found a fingerprint of somebody that was on that list that brought the information forward, correct?
That is correct.
So that's verification.
It's 100% verification.
Why do you think he had that list? Think it was for revenge? Do you think why?
I believe that it would eventually turn into a retaliation. Hence, it's why people are very apprehensive to come forward, because you have people like that do things of that nature. But I think ultimately that list was to retaliate.
Well, I started talking about it early on. Let's be honest about it. A lot of these people that come forward, they're looking for help. They may be in there on a burglary or whatever, and we always qualify with, we're not purchasing your information. We will take your information, we will pass it to the prosecutor's office, and that's between the prosecutor's office and your attorney. We stay out of negotiating. We stay out of bargaining. We stay out of that. We are not going to purchase your information. We'll listen to what you have. We'll use it, and we'll give you the respect to pass that information along to the prosecutor that you have given us a statement, you have testified, and that's how the system works. I can tell you in my 45 years, if I had 5 people in my entire career say, screw you, I'm not going to talk, and really not talk, I'd be surprised. One of them's doing 70 years now, so boy, you really taught me a lesson. You don't want to talk, don't talk. Take your information, take your ace in the hole of prison with you. We'll do you anyway, and you can't play it after the game's done. So it behooves people to help. It obviously helps us. It helps the system. I do understand the reluctance at times because there are cowards that will retaliate. They may not retaliate directly against you, but it's changed so much with that. It used to be the bad guy only went after the other bad guy. Now these people will shoot up a car and they don't care if there's 15 nuns and 9 babies in there. Somebody gets hit, it's collateral damage. The care factor is extremely minimal. And that's reflected in society in general with the excusable behavior of everything, and it's everybody else's fault but the person that's doing it. And you think you can hug a thug and make everything go away. It doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that. It's like being the bully on the playground. If they take your lunch money, they're going to keep taking it until you punch them in the face, and then they're going to stop taking your money. That's just the way it is. That's old school, and I know there's probably people out there going, oh my God, you're not going to give them a trophy. No, I'm not going to give you a trophy. I'm not going to give you an excuse. I'm not going to put cocoa butter on your butt and tell you what a terrible life you had. We're going to spank you. We're going to put you in prison, and it's you put yourself there. I don't know of any cop that ever woke up and said, geez, I think I need one of these, whatever that is, and throw them through a window and call them a burglar. You did the crime. We caught you. Sometimes you did the crime and we didn't catch you. But remember, you got to get right every single time. Every single time. I only got to get it right once, so good luck to you. So
you were speaking of the people that come forward and how that helps. Also want to put out there that of every one good, credible person we get that we can confirm as the fingerprint that, yes, this is very credible, this is good, that there are 5 people that we squash and do our investigation and find out that they're just talking BS to try to get something that, so that's why you never, and we have never, the whole time I ever worked for you, never said, hey, we can work with this or work with that. Everything has always been factual based. We'll listen to your information. If it proves good, we'll go to bat for you. If it doesn't, then sorry.
Well, and there's
I would
times
say
that
1 out of every 5 is good.
Well, but the 1 in every 5, the other ones you're talking about, they may have got the information that I told him and he told you. You know, it's like playing telephone. You say something in the phone, this person hears it and it goes around a room. By the time it comes back to you, you go, what the hell happened to the story? Because you hear it, you process it, you regurgitate it, comes up something different. So all they're doing is regurgitating what they've heard.
Right.
They are not verifying the information. They're just verifying, this is what I heard, I'm telling you. I'm not telling you it's gospel, I'm just telling you what I heard. So some of that is second hand, third hand, 15th hand, whatever. And we have to, like you said, we have to get rid of it. It's not that, and we've had people blatantly lie, and we spanked them.
Yep.
We spanked them.
Absolutely.
So back to you, Kyle. You go to the post, you recover evidence, come back. That's put in the book, which, you know, some of the books are like that. Sometimes there's 2 or 3 of them with all the reports and all that kind of thing. And then that's used as a basis to help us get charges, correct?
So yeah, it's a process. You know, once we get the evidence, we're not just done with the evidence. You know, we got to start sending stuff to labs. Like you guys talked about the snitch list. We sent that over to the South Bend Crime Lab, and they were able to develop a fingerprint on there and compare it and actually match it. With that, you know, all the ballistic evidence we collected in the case, you know, we were able to take the casings from Lawndale and the bullets from the SUV and the black Pontiac and take them over to the South Bend Crime Lab and have Ray Wolfenbarger, who's a spectacular firearm and tool mark examiner, to be able to compare that stuff. So
Well, we're lucky. Obviously, we keep talking about Ray, and it sounds like a bromance. It's not, at least not for me. I can't speak for anybody else, but Ray is lucky to even be here. Ray was a victim. He was working uniform, stopped the car, walked up to the car, and got shot numerous times. By all accounts, Ray should have died, but for his will to live, and a great doctor named Scott Thomas. And of course, the Sky Boss put his hand on him and said, "Nah, there's another plan for you, Ray." He fought through adversity, fought through pain, still walks with a limp, has not used that as an excuse, and he's gone on to excel in ballistics and tool marks. The guy is gold. They don't pay him enough. They don't give him enough accolades. They don't give him enough equipment. That guy has put together so many cases for us, in addition to the other departments and the other entities that we work with. But I'm talking about Ray right now. So I appreciate everything he ever did for me and the unit. So Cookie, kind of take us down the line now where everything's starting to churn a little bit, and we have
things are falling into place, and I always like to use the process of, it's easier to take somebody out of the picture than put them in the picture. It broadens the scope, and it narrows it down to where you get to your suspect. You can't just have a tunnel vision and not follow up on everything else that is potential. That's what took us to Fort Wayne and Detroit, Indianapolis, things of that nature. Lorenzo Pfeiffer ended up getting arrested on something different, and ended up getting, I believe he got sent down to Miami County. Is that correct?
I don't recall.
He got locked up for a while for something, which gave me a kind of a feeling at ease, because at that point knew who it was. It was just putting it together to prove it. And I know that he is a bad guy, and if he would have stayed on the street that long, that somebody else would have died. And through talking with everything, and I think over the nearly 4 years, I think it was 40 months, if my math is correct, from the time this happened till we got him, there were numerous prosecutors that were helping with this as well. One in particular, I remember that she traveled to Fort Wayne with me 2 or 3 times to speak with people over in Ohio as well.
Was that Amy?
Yes.
Amy Herring?
No, that was not. It was Kim.
Kim Schultz?
Yes.
Okay.
Who is now
federal prosecutor.
That's correct. Yes.
And then that case was handed off to Amy Herring?
Yes. Amy Herring was the one that actually went to trial on it. And so through the years, with just the workload, that you take what you have at the time and you go, and Amy Herring ended up with it, and we took it to trial, and that's when we got it guilty on him.
Well, I can recall there was a lot of contact with Chaundra's mom.
Yes.
And as well as his girlfriend, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And obviously that's all part of it. And again, I know I'm repeating myself from other shows, but we tell as much as we can tell. There's certain things that only we, the police, need to know. That way, if somebody comes in and tells it, we know that they got that either from the person that killed somebody or they're the killer and they made a mistake. So we're very guarded with our information. How was his mother?
His mother was, their family had been through a lot of hardship in the past, and it was obviously very rough on Mom. Mom was a very religious-based lady, just a sweetheart of a lady. I stayed in contact with her on the phone. She would call me probably once every other week, and she would always call me, Officer Cook, how's anything new happening, anything going on? And always told me I know there's a Sky Boss. I'm not a huge religious person, but she always said, I'm praying for you. I know you. I know your team. I know how you guys do things, and I know you're going to get this one. And she was just very supportive. She had trust in us. And I'll never forget when the jury came back in, with the verdict of guilty, I remember turning around looking at her, and we both just broke down. It's kind of I don't know. It's almost like tears of happy, and that was for his mother, because obviously Chaundra's not coming back, but it's for his family. So, and she even,
But aren't you one of those policemen that doesn't care about anything? Your systemic racism and all these horrible things that are put out. You're talking about a full-grown man here that's seen a lot, heard a lot, and broke down because of caring. So when I hear that chin music about all this stuff that's never shown, show me the proof. You say it, but you don't have the proof. These are people that care, and that's what you need to hear. And here's something. We're talking about Chaundra's mom. Chaundra's girlfriend was going to either be here in person or on the phone with us. I called her today, and she has a relative that was a victim of a homicide yesterday morning, that these guys arrested somebody today. That's how these tentacles reach out. She couldn't participate because another relative, she lost her boyfriend and she lost her relative to gun violence. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's
it infuriates me when I think of that stuff.
Yeah, Chaundra's mother, just a wonderful lady, and even now she'll send me a text or call me every now and then and say, I hope you and your family's all well, and I'm still praying for you, and thank you for what you've done for our family, and this is my number if you ever need anything. Just a great lady. I think that she realized that we, when I say we as our homicide unit, we don't see people as a number or as just an incident. We actually look at them like their family. And when she saw that, I think she was relieved, and she knew that we were going to be diligent about it. And she stayed faithful through the years. And thank goodness, it all came out well.
Well, thank goodness that's a good term, but thank God that there's people that push and keep digging and don't go, who cares? I'm getting off at 5 o'clock anyway. I'll get some overtime. You worked all night, get a nice fat check. We get it solved. Okay. If we don't really care. It's not one of mine. That's not the way it is. It's absolutely not the way it is. So verdict comes back. How did he take it?
He was almost in disbelief.
In fact, wasn't even bragging before trial how he's going to kick our ass in trial and he's going to win this. And
yeah, that was when the courthouse and several staff had overheard him talking that this is a joke, and he was walking, and he was not gonna. That there was nothing to it. So he was definitely. Looked like, oh shit, when it came back as guilty.
Mm-hmm. Any fights or anything in the courtroom? No issues like that?
We've been through so many trials. I can't remember if this specific trial had any fights. I know that through the week of the trial that there was a lot of separation of family in the courtroom, and there was people asked to leave just because of just outright blatantly talking out in court, and the judge is not going to put up with that. But I don't think there was any physical fights that I recall.
Okay, now he sits for a while, comes back for sentencing.
Mm-hmm.
How'd that go? And usually everybody gets a call on that the jury's back, and everybody from the team that's around, everybody runs down there to see what happened and walk the jurors out and all that kind of stuff.
That's exactly what happened. When it went to the jury, I think we'd been there all day, and I believe we might have went and got something to eat. And everybody's within just a few minutes of the courthouse. We got the call from the courts saying that the verdict was in. We all met back there, and the courts are always very, very good about making sure that everybody's family is back, so they don't just march right in and give a verdict. They let the family get in there, and We assembled and were seated for the judge. And when we got the guilty verdict, you have the non-believers, you hear the rumbles of that, and then you hear the thank gods from the family side. And then he was led away, and we stuck around and talked with the family. And Chaundra's mom hugged me, would not let me go. She about snapped my neck in half by squeezing me, which I was totally good with. If I remember, we did walk people to the cars because we didn't know what was going to be happening outside the courthouse. And if I recall, I believe the team went and had a beer.
That's something we always do too, is we like to walk the jury because we don't want any retaliation on the jurors from suspect family saying, oh, they're the ones that caused this or something like that. So we want to make sure that their safety. And then also kind of, hey, it's over with. What did we do that was good? What pushed it over the edge? Or if it's on the negative, what could we have done? That would have.
Well, when he went back, he sat for what, 2 or 3 weeks, 30 days? What was it? Then he comes back for sentencing.
For sentencing, yeah. I don't remember.
It's usually about 30 days.
Yeah, it was somewhere around there,
it
30, 45 days, and he came back for sentencing, and I believe they gave him 60 years. He was looking at 45 to 65, and I believe he got 60.
How was his demeanor when he came in? Did he have that, the usual jail strut?
That cockiness wasn't as cocky the second go around when he walked in. He was more businesslike at that time.
Well, you're guilty. All you got to do is accept your fate. Now you got to find out, what you're going to be looking at.
Right.
That was, like all of them, it's a sad event, but it's very satisfying to know that, again, people like us are solving them, are caring enough that to follow through, not give up. And again, I don't want to sound like it's all homicide, because it's not. It's the responding officers. It's, Ray Wolfenbarger and his team. Charlie Eakins looking at fingerprints, people recovering stuff, jail people that recognize the issues. It just goes on and on and on. FBI, ATF, DEA, the marshals, everybody fighting for the same cause, and many times under the duress and the suspicious eye of non-trusting and again, all the falsehoods that are put out there about cops. Anything else you want to say? We'll be wrapping up here.
I just want to touch a little bit more on the whole caring part that you were talking about. We're called out and we're 100 miles an hour. We're giving 110% the whole way. And we don't always have time during that point in time to sit there and think about, a lot of the feelings and stuff like that. But when we go to court and we hear the verdict and we get a guilty verdict or during a sentencing, and we have time at that time to reflect a little bit and be like, this is real, this is serious, and you see the emotion. And I think that's a lot that, I know when I go to watch the sentencings and the verdicts, that's where it becomes really real to me, because I'm actually seeing the realness of it from the family. They're hugging us. They've never, met us in their life before this, and they're seeing all the hard work that we've put forth, and I think that's very touching to me. I think that's something I really.
Cookie?
Just, it's a fact that our team always takes each case as personal. It's a family member to us. It's not a number. And like you said, all the other agencies that assisted, and this was your saying, if we're going to be shitting in somebody else's sandbox, let's let them know. So all these places I went to interview people in different towns and stuff, talked to the local police there, and they were more than glad to send a uniform car with us to in case things went sideways, and just effort from everybody. It's a lot of cooperation. It's a pretty amazing thing.
Well, I wish we could have had somebody from the family here tonight. Obviously, the circumstances that we were talking about. are more paramount. You know, you lose another one to a violence, it's a bad thing, and you have to take care of your business. That's why we're speaking for the family tonight. I can tell you it was an honor and privilege to be a policeman for 45 years. With the private stuff that I'm doing, I'm still doing homicide cases. I still enjoy it. Now I do it how I want to do it without politicians trying to tell you what to do. And to me, the only difference between a politician and a prostitute is the spelling. I have the opportunity to lead a great unit. It was easy because I had great people. I want to thank all the first responders, all the people in the military, and all the vets. You have given me the opportunity to be in a free land and do what I'm able to do. You know, you've listened to me now on probably 6 or 8 of these things. Take a look at me. I'm never going to be a greeter at Walmart. I've seen myself naked in the shower, so I know the adult film industry doesn't want me. So I'm going to keep putting people away. I think Kyle's a little embarrassed. Maybe he knows something I don't know. I don't care. But thank you for giving us the opportunity, and we'll have another one next week.